Baseball Classic. You play for your country. From the Bayside splendor of Miami Marina to the fashionable Art Deco glitz of South Beach to the site of the old Orange Bowl, where now sits Marlins Park, as tonight pool C play continues in the World Baseball Classic. We welcome you to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. Today, the rest of the bracket gets involved as Team Colombia battles one of the favorites, the United States. It's the second day of Pool C play. Yesterday, we saw a big win for one of the very heavy favorites, the defending champs from the Dominican Republic, as they defeated Canada. And tonight, Colombia and the U.S. will play their first game in Pool C. Top two teams advance to San Diego with John Smoltz, Matt Vasgersian, JP Morosi with us in a bit as well. John, we've been looking forward to seeing the 2017 version of Team USA, because this is an event that the Americans really have not had a lot of success in the past.
Yeah, and they know that, right? They've had to talk about it, but this is a relatively new team. There's not many players that played in the previous one, so it's a new experience for them, as is Jim Leyland. And I think the message is pretty clear. They don't have to overstate it. They know what they haven't done. They've got to play to advance, and then each level try to accomplish something, and maybe for the first time win it all.
It's one of Team USA's first-timers that gets the ball here in this opening matchup for them in Pool C. Chris Archer for the Americans, and it's a very familiar Major League commodity who takes the ball for Colombia, White Sox, Jose Quintana.
Well, these are two good young pitchers. Of course, Chris Archer didn't get much run support, did not have the year he had last year that he anticipated. But Jose Quintana, one of the best the American League has, and his job is to keep his country, which is at a decided disadvantage because of the lack of depth, in the game as long as possible. Chris Archer, play with that emotion. He wants to wear this jersey, but also do the things you got to do to get ready to win this baseball game.
You know, if it's a known commodity on the mound for Colombia, you can't say the same for their lineup. A lot of players unfamiliar to American baseball fans. However, there are some top prospects on the Colombian roster and in the lineup tonight, including Phillies catching prospect Jorge Alfaro, who's had a great spring and has opened some eyes with some tape measure home runs.
Yeah, he has. He's hit a couple, but this team has grown up together. It's amazing hearing from their manager how many guys from Little League all the way up have come accustomed to being together. They are truly a family. They may not know, the world may not know about a lot of their players, but they know they're excited to be here. They qualified, and much like Canada, I think they're going to play with tension-free. Not much expected. Maybe they could steal a game. Maybe they can move on.
There is a lot expected of the Americans. When you look at the roster, it's absolutely loaded. We could pick any one of a number of guys to feature here. Let's talk about Nolan Arenado, Major League Baseball's RBI leader over the last 2 seasons.
Well, this guy's a stud. I mean, people are going to talk about where he plays in Colorado, but these are no fluke stats. This guy is passionate about not only representing the U.S., but playing third base. He's a two-way player, tremendous defense, tremendous offense. He may be the most excited position player here.
Nolan Arenado, a first-timer at the WBC, so is Chris Archer. There are a couple of players for the Americans that have been here before, including one standing by with JP Morosi, talking about Marlins 3-time All-Star Giancarlo Stanton. JP.
Giancarlo, this is your house, my friend, here, representing Team USA in Miami. What does this night mean to you?
It's huge. It's huge. I was looking forward to it ever since I accepted it. The chance, the honor to play for USA, and especially my home ballpark, is something special. Last time I played, I remember that for sure, for a big time. And now I got a couple teammates and a couple guys from last year back with me, so it's fun.
Your father, Mike, more than 30 years working for the Postal Service. He helped teach you this great game. He's here tonight. What has he meant to you in your life?
Huge, huge. I wouldn't be here without him, so I'm glad he could come. He'll be here the whole tournament. Of course, he always follows me all season from ballparks that he doesn't always get to see me play in, and of course here. So it's amazing. I love that he can see his built product, if you say. So it's cool.
Have fun tonight. Thanks so much.
Sure, no problem. Thank you.
Matt, back to you.
All right, JP, this is how deep Jim Leyland's lineup is. Giancarlo Stanton bats 6th tonight. They're that good.
They really are, and I think they get the butterflies out tonight and get geared up for what is going to be a long run, hopefully for the USA team.
We're geared up for the Americans opening Pool C with a star-studded lineup, taking on an upstart team from Colombia with talent of their own. We're back with the starting lineups in the opening pitch from Miami. Next. Welcome back to Miami. This is Colombia's lineup for this big matchup against Team USA. And as you'll note, there are only a couple of household commodity names in terms of Major League Baseball. Former Marlin Donovan Solano, his brother Jonathan in the lineup as well, and Giovanni Urshela, who got some big league time with the Indians the past few years. But there's a great unknown, especially 6 through 9 tonight. We've highlighted Jorge Alfaro, who we talked about when we opened the exciting young Phillies prospect. On the mound for Team USA to open Pool C, 28-year-old Tampa Bay Rays right-hander Chris Archer.
Chris Archer's got a tremendous fastball that can get up to 97 miles an hour. Pretty straight though, but his bread and butter pitch is that slider. If he's got the slider going north to south and then an occasional changeup, but I would look for him to be aggressive with the fastball and finish him off with the slider.
And Team USA is underway with a high drive into the opposite corner that chases Giancarlo Stanton into some familiar territory. Does he make the catch in there? He does not.
I think we're going to see opposite strategies. I would anticipate Colombia being pretty aggressive, not seeing and facing Chris Archer, not wanting to get into the pen as early as they can, take their chances with Archer being aggressive with fastballs. And I would think on the other side, the American team would want to be a little bit more patient and get Quintana out of the game as soon as possible.
Nothing in one, the count to Donovan Solano. Solano, Ronaldo Rodriguez, and Giovanni Urshela to lead things off against Chris Archer. We'll set the particulars for you in a moment in terms of the Team USA defense. Jim Leyland had some choices to make, of course, with a star-studded lineup. Some choices to make defensively. I guess the one we can talk about now is who's receiving Chris Archer, and it's Buster Posey, who opens behind the plate and likely to go all 9 tonight. Jonathan Lucroy, the other catcher on the roster and one of the handful of players with experience in this event for Team USA. And he'll catch tomorrow against the Dominicans as that ball is run down by Stanton for out number 1.
Well, for Archer, I think it's going to be pretty simple formula. Pound strikes. That's going to be the key. Don't waste any pitches, even though you don't know the team. And then finish him off with the slider. He's got a good enough slider. And then temper that passion. He's very passionate about playing and putting on this uniform. You cannot pitch with the ultimate passion. You got to temper that and try to be as much of a regular start as possible.
Here is Ronaldo Rodriguez, now the Colombian first baseman, with 1 away. So 2 at-bats, 2 first pitch swings so far, and we are led to believe, having talked to some of the Team Colombia personnel earlier today, that they will, in fact, John, as you indicated earlier, be aggressive tonight, not just against Chris Archer. They're up there to swing the bats.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to play loose, and they certainly want to be able to take advantage of the aggressiveness of the U.S. team by throwing a lot of first pitch strikes, I would think.
Their manager, Luis Urueta, is taking a little break from his day job as a field coordinator for the Diamondbacks. He's had some success managing in Colombia, their manager of the year in the Winter League a couple of years ago. His roots with the Diamondbacks go back to his playing days. He signed there in 1998 as the first Colombian to play in the organization. And it's a ball and 2 strikes to Rodriguez. A little more on Luis. 5 seasons in the minors. The first of those came with Arizona. Spent the 2003 season as Cardinals minor league property. He was around as a first base coach for Colombia during their 2013 WBC qualifier. They did not qualify to play in the actual tournament in 2013. So they've gone a little farther this time, and they're very happy with their progress. 2-2. We talked about this when we visited with the guys on the set of MLB Tonight earlier today that Jim Leyland is not taking this Colombian matchup lightly at all. He only played 3 games in pool play. And to think that you could take one of them off would be a huge mistake. And Archer locks up Rodriguez for out number 2.
Well, one of the things that I personally had trouble with in spring training was when you see this slider, a little bit of high version of the slider. It'll get better as the game goes on. Is you're only given so many pitches, and there is so much you want to do that you can't think about those pitches. You can't think about accomplishing too much. And although it's going to be 65 pitches for Archer tonight, you just stay on attack and throw as many strikes as you can.
Here's Giovanni Urshela now. He takes a strike for a fastball.
In other words, I wasn't very patient early on. I wanted to try to get everything going. I didn't like only being able to pitch 2 innings at a time, then 3 innings, and working my way up.
Even when you were closing?
Well, that was different.
It's funny, you never talk about your closer days.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that about yourself?
Yeah. I mean, I did. I started for so long.
Yeah. 0-2 the count to Giovanni Urshela. Little comebacker for Archer. And no problems in the top of the first for the Tampa Bay Rays. Archer sets down Colombia 1-2-3. Time for the Americans to take their first swings to the bottom of the first. No score. Welcome back. It was a star-studded group of players that Jim Leyland had to choose from to come up with this 1 through 9. All told, 30 combined all-star appearances. We've highlighted Giancarlo Stanton, the hometown hero. 81 career home runs here, the all-time leader at Marlins Park. Ian Kinsler, Adam Jones, and Nolan Arenado set to lead things off for the Americans. And on the first pitch, a high fly ball into left off the bat of Kinsler. And with a minimum of effort, there's one away for the Colombian starter, Chicago White Sox left-hander Jose Quintana.
Well, Quintana, of course, with the White Sox and in the American League, he is very patient with his delivery. Very connected with his mechanics. Sneaky, quick fastball. He's got a real good curveball. His changeup's a little bit firm, but he can work both sides of the plate with his fastball, 2-seam and 4-seam.
A quick out for Quintana. He goes to work on the 5-time All-Star Baltimore Orioles star Adam Jones, who is one of only 2 Americans in Jim Leyland's lineup tonight that has played in this event before, the other being the aforementioned Giancarlo Stanton.
Quintana's on his best. You won't see too many of the fastballs over the middle of the plate. It's either going to be the inside or outside. His command is pretty good. Then he'll start mixing in that curveball once he feels like guys are sitting on his fastball.
And it's a ball and 2 strikes. You know, talking about Quintana and noting his 2016 season, he set career highs in wins, innings, strikeouts, career best ERA. Much of his better work came before the All-Star break. And his entire body of work landed him in discussions as to the trade rumors. I mean, his name was being kicked around as early as the deadline last year, and that conversation continued throughout the winter after Chicago sent Chris Sale to the Red Sox. White Sox property for the time being, and on a very reasonable price tag. 2-2 to Jones. A shot into center field. That's going to chase Tito Polo, who, wow, makes a series of unusual twists and thanks to pure athleticism is able to finish with a catch.
I'm telling you right now, for you watching this at home, you have no idea how difficult this ball is. It changed directions twice on him. Adam Jones absolutely squared it. And when you square a baseball up like that, it'll change. See, that ball started out going left and then went back to the right. And as you mentioned, Matt, the athleticism to locate the ball at the end and still have the presence. What a great play.
I have to say it. Tito Polo channeling his inner Marco Polo. to change his route and make a great play.
That was a great play.
2 gone for Nolan Arenado, the 2-time All-Star. And as we mentioned at the top of the telecast, Major League Baseball's RBI leader over the last 2 seasons. Huge numbers, as Rockies fans have grown accustomed to last year. And Arenado sends a drive out to shallow right center. This one of the more routine variety for Polo. And it's 3 fly ball outs off the bat of Jose Quintana as he dispatches the Americans on 8 pitches. To the second, no score in Miami. This World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance, and sponsored in part by the U.S. Army. Find out more at goarmy.org. And by the all-new Alfa Romeo Giulia. Is that 4 hitters and 4 first pitch swings? Is my math right?
I believe so.
Get used to it, folks, as Jorge Alfaro digs in for Team Colombia. Jorge Alfaro, Jonathan Solano, and Jesus Valdez against Chris Archer. Each starter 3 up, 3 down to start this one tonight. Big time power prospect Jorge Alfaro.
Outside.
We mentioned the tape measure home runs he hit earlier this week. As a matter of fact, as Team Colombia prepared for Pool C by taking on a couple of Grapefruit League adversaries. Part of a reloaded Phillies developmental system.
Just so you understand how this works, early on, not a lot of pitchers are able to go back to back. Why it's important for Archer and Quintana to pitch at least 4 innings is because both bullpens are filled with basically 1-inning guys. They don't have any depth in the bullpen does the U.S. as far as multiple inning guys. So the starters are the key because there's no off days in the next couple days. They got to play 3 consecutive games.
Two balls and 2 strikes. I would imagine it's hard for a pitcher who's used to working under certain constraints to now worry about being too efficient.
That would be a problem with me. I'd be out there thinking, how efficient can I be?
Chopper to shortstop for Giants All-Star Brandon Crawford. Let's take a look at the rest of the defense behind Chris Archer tonight.
Well, pretty good in the outfield, as you can imagine. Adam Jones, McCutchen, Stanton. And then the infield's filled with a bunch of gold in Arenado, Crawford, Goldschmidt, gold in his name. And then Buster Posey behind the plate. So the U.S. is well equipped. I think this is the game, though, that kind of gets, I mean, you can't help but have butterflies. I mean, you're expected to win. You're right there with Dominican Republic.
One gone now for Jonathan Solano. Well, you really wouldn't know it by watching the American team take batting practice today. And perhaps that was part of the philosophy behind choosing the roster that Jim Leland came up with. High infield pop. Paul Goldschmidt makes for out number 2.
Well, what happens mentally, though, is you know you're so much better, right? And the longer the game stays close, certainly the opportunity to throw about 5 different pitchers in the game. You never know if each pitcher is going to be on their game that day. And then you got the unknown factor of a team that you don't really have any idea about most of their players. Confidence is an incredible thing, but so does expectations when they meet. The U.S. has a feeling that if they don't get to the finals, it's a lost cause.
2 gone, bases empty now for Jesus Valdez, who takes strike 1.
Because that's what we talked about. They haven't even gotten to the finals yet.
Yeah. We saw Valdez spend last season in Yucatan in the Mexican League, where he put together a great line. 308 average and 18 home runs. He was the team leader in most of the power categories. 9 seasons in the minors but none more recent than 2012. Still 0-2. You know, getting back to the Team US roster, I think it's unfortunate that so much of the conversation domestically has been about who isn't playing. True, Mike Trout is not here. True, nor is Bryce Harper or Clayton Kershaw. But just eyeball this roster, and you know, I dare you to say that it's not a great representation of the game's best players. Maybe the top 1, 2, and 3 players in their categories aren't here. But look at Paul Goldschmidt. Look at Daniel Murphy. You got a batting champion here. You've got multiple All-Stars. That guy, Buster Posey, an MVP, a Rookie of the Year, a World Series champ, Nolan Arenado, one of the brightest talents on the landscape. Team USA has, in fact, put its best foot forward here. And a called strike 3, a pair of strikeouts, 6 up, 6 down for Chris Archer to start this night in Miami. Welcome back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. With Hall of Famer John Smoltz, JP Morosi, Matt Vasgersian in Miami, where the roof is open, as you saw a moment ago. And Paul Goldschmidt leads things off in the U.S. half of the second. We were under the impression for a short time that maybe the roof would be closed tonight, that maybe the folks that run this place knew something about the weather that we didn't. But it's turned into a picture perfect night for baseball. 76 degrees, a little breeze, red sky at night, sailor's delight. 1 ball and 1 strike to the 4-time All-Star Paul Goldschmidt.
And a blimp that's virtually not moving, which is pretty cool. You don't see that very often. I'm getting in one of these sooner or later.
You've been threatening that for a long time.
Got to get in a blimp.
Just bring a GoPro with you and let me know how it goes. 2-1 home, and Goldschmidt can't hold up. It's 2-2 now. You know, it's a point worth reiterating, and we talked about this during our pregame coverage as you see Goldschmidt try to check his swing again, that Team Colombia decided on Quintana for game 1 based on his American League affiliation. The Colombians noting accurately that much of this Team US roster is National League. Arenado, Goldschmidt, Posey, Stanton, Murphy, McCutchen, Crawford. Everybody except the top 2 hitters. So those hitters, those National Leaguers, have not had as much exposure to Quintana as they have against Julio Teheran, the other ace on this Colombian staff, and that's why Teheran goes in game 2. Two balls and 2 strikes to Paul Goldschmidt. You've watched both of those guys. You've watched a lot of Julio Teheran. You've seen enough of Jose Quintana. Do you kind of validate that choice?
Yeah, I do, because they're both, you know, young in their careers, even though Teheran's been around with the National League his whole career. There is some value to seeing a guy for the first time. I mean, look, we got video for everything, and the hitters are going to look at the video for Quintana, but not a lot of them, with maybe Kinsler being the leadoff hitter, faces them. You want to see a guy for your memory and your mind to know what he's got, how you react to it. Video only gives you the data that prepares you for it.
Right.
But there is some value in what their manager's talking about, and I think it's the right choice.
Still a full count to Paul Goldschmidt, looking for the game's first base runner. And Quintana misses on an inside fastball.
Well, like I said, he's going to pick one side of the plate or the other, in or out. He just missed 2 pitches, 1 away, 1 in, and this time resulted in the walk. And for Quintana, look, it's going to be this simple: 4 innings, get deep, cut the game in half, maybe 5 if possible. Keep it as close as possible, and then no traffic on the bases. And that means there's no opportunity for big innings. Quintana has shown in his brief career already his ability to command the plate, the mound. Good athlete, very connected with his mechanics.
So the game's first base runner put on in front of Buster Posey. The 4-time All-Star, former Rookie of the Year, MVP, batting champion, and first-timer at the World Baseball Classic takes a strike. It's interesting what's happening in the middle infield here for Colombia. And I can't imagine a real reason for this. Goldschmidt and Posey, both right-handed hitters. But for whatever reason, Adrian Sanchez and Donovan Solano at second and short switched places. Solano's gone back to shortstop and Sanchez to second. But they flip-flopped against Goldschmidt and then went back to the positions that they were in the first inning for the Posey at bat. Two balls and a strike to count to Posey. And a little check-in throw. Paul Goldschmidt is as unlikely to run and try to steal a base as anybody in the tournament.
It's rare you see two guys back to back. Obviously these guys are not teammates, but they both have the simple approach where their bat almost goes down their back before it gets in position to hit. Goldschmidt does it. Watch Posey right there, sets it down, and then gets ready to hit.
2-2. There were a lot of people really pleasantly surprised that Buster Posey threw his hat in the ring to play for Team USA. If ever there's a guy that could claim that he's, you know, done it all in this game and just wants to focus on Major League Baseball, it's him. Yet he was a rather early commit, and perhaps one of the names that Jim Leyland was most excited about having.
I would think guys in his category, if you're relatively healthy after your season and you have a normal off season, it would be very intriguing to do that. Put on the uniform, claim that spot.
Sounded like it broke his bat to Urshela, to Solano, the double play.
Again, he gets the ball inside, breaks his bat, and you see he knows who's running. The only difference is Goldschmidt gets on second base pretty quickly.
So now another right-handed hitter, Giancarlo Stanton, and the Colombians adjust defensively again. Donovan Solano has gone into the shortstop hole. They've loaded up the right side of the left side of the infield rather against the right-handed hitter Stanton. I'm surprised to see this. I mean, they're very active defensively here. They're scheming, the Colombians.
Tell you what, this is the biggest game of their country, as his manager said. They got to be having a blast. Certainly they want to win, but you can't imagine this position for them.
Stanton sends a drive into shallow center field. Out from the shortstop spot is Sanchez. And despite the leadoff walk, Jose Quintana throws his second scoreless inning of the night. Big day of World Baseball Classic coverage tomorrow, starting with doubleheader coverage. Colombia and Canada at noon Eastern, Venezuela versus Italy in Pool D. Then it's back here to Pool C for the big one, the U.S. and the Dominican Republic at 6:30 Eastern. The nightcap from Pool D, Puerto Rico and Mexico. Adrian Sanchez leads things off, a chopper to third, handled easily there. Nolan Arenado considers that routine with his 4 Gold Gloves at home, and there are 7 up, 7 down on Chris Archer's watch so far tonight.
I know it's only 2 games in, but I've watched a couple of the other games as well, and so far I've been impressed with the quality of sharpness that the pitchers who have agreed to do this have shown early on. You don't always see that because it takes a while to get through spring training to get to a level where you're ready to go for the season.
One quick out now for Mauricio Ramos.
I know, always going to spring training trying to battle your mechanics. That's the #1 goal for a starting pitcher, is to get his mechanics to where he's not tweaking or thinking about anything when he goes north with his prospective club. So far it looks like both are well in tune with their mechanics.
A ball and a strike to the Colombian left fielder. 8 hitters faced so far by Chris Archer. 5 of them have offered at the first pitch, including that first pitch out he got to Adrian Sanchez.
Now for the hitters it's a different deal. The timing of tracking pitches and seeing pitches early on gets a little bit after the off season. They say about 3/4 of the way through spring training.
Crawford handles that.
About 3/4 of the way through spring training they start feeling good about their timing and seeing and tracking a bunch of pitches.
So 2 gone, bases empty now for the center fielder Tito Polo. And if there has been a highlight so far from the first 2+ innings in this one, it's been the catch that Tito Polo made earlier. '22-year-old Yankee property. Another one of the first pitch swingers. Let's take you back to the first inning, and Adam Jones hit a bolt into center. It turned, and so did Tito. And if Adam Jones had not heard of Tito Polo before, I'm sure he'll remember his name. It's 0-2.
Well, this is a center fielder's dream, this ballpark. This is a very big ballpark. An outfielder who has skill can really make a name for himself defensively and be the best friend of a pitcher, especially a fly ball pitcher.
This will be pitch number 30 from Chris Archer. And he's going to throw 3 perfect innings on those 30 pitches. Exactly as Jim Leland and company drew it up so far from the pitching end. Looking for some runs, it's scoreless. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear with superior performing tires that knock it out of the park. Goodyear, more driven. Welcome back to Marlins Park. Still a scoreless tie, last of the third, and Team USA offers the National League's batting champ Daniel Murphy, followed by 5-time All-Star Andrew McCutchen and San Francisco star Brandon Crawford here in the last of the third. Little jam shot slicing near the stands and out of play, and it's 0-2 to Daniel Murphy. Daniel Murphy coming off a phenomenal first year away from the New York Mets. As a National last year, led the National League in OPS and doubles.
It really is amazing when you think about it. Not only did he have a fantastic year, he haunted his former team. I think he hit over 500 against his team.
Yeah.
And this is where he gets tough with 2 strikes.
I'm sure Jim Leland would love to capture a little of that 2015 postseason magic out of Daniel Murphy, the kind of magic that probably netted him his current contract, which, by the way, still looks like a bargain.
I don't think a lot of people thought what clicked at the end of the month would sustain itself the following year. Wow, that's a good pitch. Wow.
2 balls and 2 strikes.
And obviously they call this down, but this is over the middle of the plate.
And a swing and a miss. First strikeout for Jose Quintana tonight. There's one gone. We talked a little bit earlier about how aggressively Colombia has used its middle infield with Solano and Sanchez switching positions as they are as we speak. J.P. Morosi, good evening to you. Have you had any insight on that? Have you had a chance to discuss this with anybody?
Yes, Matt. I spoke with Luis Urueta, the Colombian manager, after that key second inning. He basically explained it this way. Right now, Adrian Sanchez has the stronger throwing arm. So when Colombia shifts, he wants that arm available deep in the hole at shortstop. Donovan Solano, by comparison, more comfortable right around the bag. And certainly, Matt, it worked out very well for that key double play.
It sure did. Interesting choices. Here's Andrew McCutchen. Another broken bat, another ground ball. That's Solano who moved over to utilize the arm. Boy, everything's working out to plan for Colombia, and there are 2 away. That was Sanchez. I take that back.
This is the scenario you could dream of if you are Quintana. Put up zeros, be efficient, see if your team can squeeze out a run or 2, but keeping them close. And as the game progresses, it gets much more difficult for the USA team because they'll feel more of the pressure than Colombia will because of the expectations.
There's Brandon Crawford now with 2 gone and the base is empty. I mean, you kind of went into this thinking that runs would be at a premium at least early on. Nobody expected Jose Quintana to give it up. Same set of Chris Archer. A run would have been nice on Quintana's watch. Crawford's jammed, a little pop onto the right side. Let me tell you, the Colombians are matching Team USA pitch for pitch so far. A 9-pitch inning. Each starter has worked to the minimum through 3 scoreless. Welcome back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. A scoreless tie through 3. Jose Quintana and Chris Archer have been the story so far here at Marlins Park. Top of the order, and it'll be Donovan Solano leading things off against Archer. What was that all about? Did his knee buckle, or was he trying to? Was it trying to like give him the business? Did you see that?
No, I think it was anticipating possibly a bunt when he squared around, just coming in. I would think this time around, second time around, you're going to see more sliders. There's 2 of them. Fastball late in the first 3 innings, did a nice job. Colombian came out aggressive. Now they're going to try to work it a little bit more after seeing what Archer has. Each hitter has their own radar gun in their eyes when they see a fastball and recognize what they have to do to catch up to it.
2 balls and a strike. This was the first pitch to Solano. Okay. It's gonna be like that, huh? You saw the number on how efficient Chris has been tonight. 2-2. That was part of the problem for Archer last year in kind of dipping to a 9-19 record. Very un-Archer like from what we know of how good Chris is. He averaged 17 pitches an inning last year. And a strikeout, his 3rd of the game. He also punches out a lot. Last 2 years he has struck out on an average of 10.5 batters per 9. That leads the American League. And Jim Leland's happy to have him here. Between innings, J.P. Morosi had a chance to visit with him.
Jim, Chris Archer so far, your thoughts?
Well, he's throwing really well. So is their guy. You know, it's 2 good big league pitchers going at it. I mean, this is big league pitching at his best right here.
Jim, 3 World Series for you. You've heard this national anthem so many times. What was special about tonight?
Well, this was a different uniform. You know, with this across my chest, I've worn a lot of uniforms, but none like this.
Jim, thanks so much.
Sure.
Jim Leland happy to be here and wants very badly just to get out of pool play. It just makes it a little easier to manage when you don't have to worry about the pitch counts, bringing a guy back on back-to-back days, how many guys you can do that with. The closer you get to Los Angeles for the finals, the more it replicates the major league guidelines. There's a chopper off the bat of Ronaldo Rodriguez. A fine play at shortstop by Brandon Crawford.
Well, he's no longer an underrated shortstop. Everybody knows about him in San Francisco. Tremendous arm. His bat's come alive the last 3 years, improving in that area. But this is a fantastic play. Good read, good jump, but his arm, watch the accuracy. Long throw and basically bang, bang.
Back-to-back Gold Gloves in the National League in 2015 and 16. We just saw a little taste as to why. Here's Giovanni Urshela now. Oh, they love him in San Francisco, let me tell you. Make everybody forget about Royce Clayton and Johnny LeMaster. Did I just date myself?
He did.
Johnny
LeMaster
LeMaster
did.
Yeah.
It's even better. He's homegrown. I mean, he grew up rooting for the Giants from that area, and just to be able to play that position, get some championships under your belt.
Slicing near the stands and out of play. Yeah, Brandon Crawford was a part of the 2012 and 2014 World Series champion Giants. Still developing in the minors when that run began in 2010. And his signature moment remains that grand slam in the wild card win in 2014 against the Pirates. If you had to pick one. Giants re-upped him a couple of years ago. He's entering the 2nd year of a 6-year contract extension. There's a drive out to the opposite corner that chases Stanton. He's under it to make the catch. 3 up, 3 down, 4 perfect innings from Chris Archer tonight. Through the bottom of the 4th, still scoreless and hitless in Miami. A pitching clinic so far for sure. No runs, no hits allowed by either starter, and it looks like one of them is done for the night. Chris Archer, 4 perfect innings. Thank you for your service.
Man, I'd be lobbying for another one. 41 pitches.
Well, let me ask you about this as Jose Quintana deals to Ian Kinsler. I mean, is part of this perhaps preserving Archer? I mean,
no.
A lot of the starters, it's going to be one and done.
Yeah, there's no way, even in a tournament format, the U.S. they're going to prepare their guys for regular season, unlike the other countries where they're going to win a tournament. There's a big difference philosophically in how the players and their reps and the managers that they're responsible to their teams will treat their guys.
Kinsler with a drive to straightaway center field. Polo back and makes the catch. Well, the loudest out of the night. And there's one gone.
This kid can play some center. You see he's already playing a little deep, but this ball's smoked again. He knows exactly where he is once he calculates the track with the wall. See the anxiousness there. But to finish that thought, you know, there's going to be a tandem, more than likely starters going tomorrow. So
right.
I always think, you know, I'm just thinking the guy's mowing him down. He's got 65 pitches to play with. Won't pitch again in this series.
Yep.
But again, you got to think of their ball club, meaning the Rays. Archer.
Refresher on the pitcher rest restrictions in play for the tournament. Tomorrow, as John alluded to, as Adam Jones falls behind 0-2. The plan for Team USA is Toronto right-hander Marcus Stroman to start, and Washington right-hander Tanner Roark to piggyback that. So ideally, 2 guys, 8 innings. Good night. Fly ball out to left center field. I mean, this is a vintage Jose Quintana guy that gets a lot of his outs in the air, has really gotten a lot of outs in the air in this one. Well, between innings, John Paul Morosi had a chance to visit with Colombian manager Luis Urueta.
Luis, is this exactly how you hoped this game would unfold?
Oh, pitching wise it is. I think Jose is doing a good job. He's attacking the zone early, keeping his pitch count down. But we got to score though, you know. I think Archer's doing a good job as well. Someone's got to score first, so I hope it's us, but so far so good.
This is the biggest baseball game in Colombian history. What does it mean for you to be managing this ball club tonight?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's a great field. It's a great atmosphere. The fans, the Colombian fans supporting the guys. I think it's unique. It's a unique experience. I hope it goes our way.
Gracias, Luis.
Gracias a ti.
Well, as Luis Urueta mentioned, Jose Quintana matching Chris Archer pitch for pitch, getting good defense behind him, including a fine catch in left by Mauricio Ramos to retire Nolan Arenado, and we are still scoreless and hitless through 4. Team USA goes to the bullpen to start the top of the 5th in a scoreless, hitless contest. Orioles right-hander Michael Gibbons takes over on the mound, coming off a terrific breakthrough season with Baltimore in 2016. A very valuable part of the Orioles setup core for Buck Showalter. 66 appearances and 8 wins out of the bullpen. He'll face the middle of the Colombian order.
This guy's nasty. A little miniature Louis Tion type delivery. See the sidearm, very firm fastball, gets up there to 94, and a slider at 86, and then occasionally he'll throw a changeup.
Drafted by the Orioles as a 2nd rounder in 2009 as a shortstop, by the way, and didn't earn his way into a big league roster until making that conversion to pitching. He's been terrific the last couple of years, last season in particular for Baltimore. He's got Alfaro, Solano, and Valdez, the middle of the Colombian order, here in the top of the 5th. 2-2.
There's that slider. 88 miles an hour. The arm angle makes it awfully difficult on right-handed batters. Orioles made a living and got to the wild card game primarily because of their bullpen, especially from 7th inning on. This guy was a huge part.
Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to Jorge Alfaro. Well, the starters have been the story so far in this one. You don't need us to tell you that in a scoreless game, but Archer and Quintana each went 4. Neither one allowed a hit or a run. 3 strikeouts, no walks for Chris Archer. They both threw 41 pitches on the dot. A swing and a miss, and Gibbons starts his relief stint with a strikeout.
Well, Archer is done, kind of done. He's done for the game, but he wasn't satisfied with more than likely his slider, and he went back to the pen to finish what he wanted to complete and work on the slider a little bit more. He only threw 41 pitches, and he wanted to be able to finish with the thought that it's not really a cool down. This is more like finishing off something to prepare for his next start, when that might be. Where I think Quintana, he is not coming out of the game.
I would agree. There's Jonathan Solano now with one away. And you know, the later it gets in a tie game, whether it's scoreless or whether it's 10-10, the better things bode for Colombia. Look, they've got a couple of guys who are capable of hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying, though. The game gets more tense for Jim Leyland and how he wants to use his pen. He's going to react to his pen based on the score. He's not going to react to his pen based on who he's playing tomorrow. So in other words, he's going to use the weapons he has to secure a victory, and the longer it stays close, the more weapons he may have to use that he cannot use tomorrow night. So it was, I'm sure, hoping it was going to be a different scenario and a little bit more of a breezer for him. But as you mentioned, the two starters are in control and have been in control up until this point.
Ball and 2 strikes to Jonathan Solano. 2-2 now. You know, the goal for Colombia, we talked about this as it related to Canada in their opening matchup against the Dominican Republic last night. And it's true for the Colombian team too. To get a couple of wins and be in contention to move on to San Diego next week. Canada and Colombia are looking at it this way. We have to beat each other, and we have to steal one against either the U.S. or the Dominican Republic, the two favorites.
And the other scenario that's probably more likely, in their minds, Dominican Republic goes 3-0, and they find a way to get a 1-2 three-way, and then 2 of those 1-2 teams play a tiebreaker on Monday. That's where they're trying to find that one win, and then hope if they don't get the second one that scenario plays out.
Yep. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Jonathan Solano hanging around here with one away, and the base is empty and a scoreless tie. Gibbons next 2-2 is swung on and missed. Back-to-back strikeouts, and there are 2 gone in the 5th.
Most hitters, as you look back at the replay, most hitters don't see this kind of nastiness from 3/4 to submarine, because most of the guys don't throw this hard from that angle. Gibbons has tight spin on his slider, so you have to respect the fastball, and then all of a sudden you get a little bit of a frisbee there disappearing, and the hitter cannot this early recognize that.
And there's the first hit of the ball game. A shot into left center field off the bat of Jesus Valdez that's going to be good for 2 bases. And there is a notable Colombian contingent in the ballpark tonight.
And the manager said they had some people travel, will travel, and be represented for what still isn't their most popular sport, but a growing sport in baseball.
That'll bring up the second baseman, Adrian Sanchez. He grounded out to 3rd in his first try tonight. This is exactly what you've talked about this the last couple of World Baseball Classics. It's a tie game. The U.S. has all kinds of expectations on its shoulder. You're playing a team with a lot of unaffiliated players in terms of Major League Baseball. You're supposed to win this one, right? And it's tied, and it's the middle innings. And try telling a guy who's coming in at the bullpen to keep it tied that, you know, just go easy at spring training. You can't.
No, you can't. And that's what's difficult. You're asking 4 or 5 guys now to come out of the pen, pitch an inning, and all be at their best this early. That's why it's still a little bit of a toss-up.
Out to center field. Jones is on the move, and it's over it. Colombia cracks the scoreboard first on back-to-back 2-out doubles.
Well, this one caught too much of the plate. He centers it, knows it. Head down, tremendous barrel of the baseball. That ball caught the wall in the air.
The left fielder Mauricio Ramos now. And Ramos sends a ball to left. That gets past McCutcheon. The entire Colombian dugout is onto the field to greet Sanchez as he scores. And it's 2-0. Oh, my. Here comes the pitching coach for Team USA, Jeff Jones. Luke Gregerson is up and hot.
Yeah, 2 straight strikeouts followed by 2 fastballs that again were missing the location by a lot. That's all these Colombian hitters needed, is a ball over the middle of the plate.
3 straight 2-out doubles in what had been a scoreless, hitless game. And 2 runs feels like a lot right now. So now one of Colombia's defensive stars tonight, the center fielder at number 9 hitter Tito Polo. Been a whole different story here in the 5th as soon as Chris Archer departed. By the way, as this game got to the 5th inning scoreless and hitless, it officially became the longest a WBC game had ever gone before seeing its first hit. That coming here with the first of 3 2-out doubles. The average number of hits in a World Baseball Classic game so far is 20. These have not been pitching and defense games so far. And Michael Gibbons puts an end to a 2-run 3-hit outburst. Colombia feeling good with their ace going back to work, having not allowed a hit and getting on the board to take a 2-0 lead. Well, what was supposed to be a breezy opening assignment for Team USA here in Pool C has turned into something a bit more urgent. Colombia striking for 2 runs on back-to-back-to-back 2-out doubles against Baltimore's Michael Gibbons. So Jose Quintana back to work and pitching with a lead for the first time tonight. Paul Goldschmidt, Buster Posey, and Giancarlo Stanton. I think it's worth noting, John, that in the case of Gibbons, who's so good, he had given up 3 extra base hits in an inning only once in his career. And it happens to him here all of a sudden against Team Colombia.
It's just too much unknown early on. Again, like we keep talking about, it is early spring training for a lot of these guys. Even though they're going 1 inning, it's still early for a lot of these relievers who don't pile up the pitch counts like the starters get to do and build up.
Goldschmidt making a bid for an opposite field hit. Instead, it's a one-hopper handled by Rodriguez, and he wins the race to the bag. With 1 away in the inning, we remind you this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network is brought to you by Chevrolet, the most awarded car company 3 years in a row. And sponsored in part by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's, perfect. And by Wendy's. One out, base is empty now for Buster Posey, who bounced into a double play in his first at bat tonight. I would venture a guess, John, that Team USA is keeping a watchful eye on Jose Quintana's pitch count at 46 and counting.
Well, they are, but he's done a masterful job. I mean, he's pounded strikes. Even the strikes that weren't called, or the balls that were called balls, were close to being strikes. So he's put the U.S. team in this position by absolutely looking like he's in midseason form. His fastball has not centered the plate. It's either been on one side or the other.
Luke Gregerson got up during the trouble last half inning, and we're assuming that Luke will pitch the top of the 6th. Posey with the chopper, gathered in by Sanchez, and there are 2 gone.
Quintana knew that he was getting this start, had to feel, I've got to pitch perfect. I've got to do everything I can, because we may not scrap out many runs, but if we do, I'm going to hope to keep my end of the bargain up and put zeros up, and he has.
There's Giancarlo Stanton. Now he takes a strike. It's not hyperbole to say that this is the biggest game in Colombian baseball history. Something their manager validated with us in our conversation with him before the game. You can read the history of baseball in Colombia and come to that realization yourself. Man, Jose Quintana is just mowing him down tonight. 2 runs of support, and the Colombian contingent is getting louder and feeling better with every inning. Follow every pitch of this year's WBC Live with MLB.com at bat. Stay connected to the game's best players this spring and all season long with radio broadcast, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download MLB.com at bat today. And a reminder to join Major League Baseball in the new era as we celebrate opening day. Make sure to wear your cap on April 3rd. Share a photo on social media using the hashtag #CapsOn. And then tune into all the action April 3rd on ESPN, MLB Network, and MLB.com. A new pitcher for Team USA, veteran right-hander Luke Gregerson takes over here in the 6th.
Good movement on his sinkers, sliders. He's got 2 different planes to it. It's his go-to pitch. There's one of them. Tighter spin, and he'll have a bigger break. But right now, with each guy that takes the hill, more and more pressure of just getting through the inning, keeping it where it's at.
Falling behind Donovan Solano, 3 balls and a strike. You saw the numbers on Luke from last year. And Gregerson endured kind of a change of roles at one point. In fact, that started early. Not used to close in 2016 as often as he would have liked after the acquisition of Ken Giles. Still ended up with 15 saves last year. Three balls and 2 strikes, the count to Donovan Solano, the top of the order here for Team Colombia in the 6th. Chopper to 3rd for Arenado. And 1 away. Luke Gregerson is a returnee to Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. Pitched in the event in 2013. Got into 2 games. And J.P. Morosi, we understand when the call came and the invitation was made for Luke to return, he accepted for a number of reasons.
Very special indeed, Matt. And this number 18 he's wearing right now, a different number than he wore 4 years ago, and really a different number than he's ever worn in baseball, because 18 always belonged to his late father, Duke Gregerson, who is actually a legend in the history of 16-inch softball in Chicago, played without gloves. Duke's lifetime batting average over 600. He's in the Hall of Fame there for 16-inch softball in Chicago. And Duke passed away, Matt, on New Year's Day this year. So Luke, when he got the call, he said, I want 18 for my dad.
Yeah, terrific story. And Luke does have some friends and family members here with him. So he is honoring his father by pitching in the World Baseball Classic again. His mom Cindy is here. And he was another one of the phone calls that was met with an eager and immediate yes. I'd love to do it again. Trying to hold this deficit at 2 here in the 6th. 2 gone for him. And here's Giovanni Urshela. Luke's best attribute on the mound, in addition to the fact that he gets a lot of swinging strikes, is the fact that he can spin it among the best in baseball right now. Like that.
He's got 2 of them, the slower one and the firm one, and he's funky enough that he'll get the hitter out in front and beat a lot of balls down in the ground because of the movement of his sinker.
Another swinging strike, and it's a ball and 2 strikes now to Giovanni Urshela. That number for Gregerson last year, just over 20% of the strikeouts were of the swinging variety. That led all of baseball among pitchers with at least 40 innings of work. The 2-2. Swinging strikeout here, and Gregerson gets through Colombia 1-2-3 in the 6th. Team USA needs to get something cooking offensively, trailing 2-0. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Just warming up in the stands here at Marlins Park in a 2-0 Colombia lead, bottom half of the 6th inning. And much to the chagrin of Team USA, Jose Quintana goes back to work. Murphy, McCutchen, and Crawford in what should be Quintana's final inning tonight.
Yeah, no starter or no pitcher has gotten into the 6th inning in this World Baseball Classic so far this year. This has been a smooth performance. 3 really good defensive plays behind him, and no hits for the USA team.
A ball and 2 strikes to Murphy. It would be hard to overstate the significance of an upset here. Quintana has been the story. Brilliant tonight through 5+, having not allowed a hit.
I'll tell you one thing, regardless of what happens the rest of this game, this better be one of those videos he locks in and looks at for the rest of the year to make sure that he realizes when things are going good what he's been doing, because he has been on point.
Still 2 balls and 2 strikes to the reigning National League batting champ. To the runner-up to the National League batting title. Murphy with his back injuries in September, unable to challenge DJ LeMahieu. I stand corrected. The 2-2. Murphy's had a couple of longer plate appearances, and that constitutes a rally against Quintana tonight. Super efficient. Only a handful of balls that even looked like they were threatening off the bat. The next 2-2 to Murphy. Got it. 3rd strikeout of the night for Jose Quintana.
Well, for Quintana, StatCast powered by Amazon Web Services is going to tell you the story. His fastball has been good. It's been on the corners. The velocity and the extension. He gets downhill and out front, and everything looks a little quicker to the hitters when the extension is 6'4", 6'5", and you see the velocity. He does a great job not only hiding the pitches, but mixing them up. There's a rare changeup he's thrown. Most of them have been fastballs and curveballs. He starts off McCutchen with a changeup.
McCutchen grounded to shortstop back in the third. And he's behind 0-2. You know what little big-time major league history there is among Colombian-born players is largely the responsibility of a guy who is here tonight on Team Colombia's coaching staff, and that's postseason hero Edgar Renteria. Burst onto the scene here in Miami as a Marlin in '96, had that big hit in the World Series the following year. And then had a big 2010 postseason as a Giant. He is about as highly a decorated a Colombian baseball player as the country has to offer. And a called strike 3 taken by McCutchen.
He also told me that they were going to win tonight. That's how much he felt confident in this group of men that have become family, and why not with Quintana on the mound, 3 pitches left in this brilliant game, probably the greatest game I've ever seen pitched in the first round of World Baseball Classic.
Here's Brandon Crawford now, and as John just mentioned, this is Quintana's 63rd pitch of the game. The limit is 65, and there's the U.S.'s first hit of the night.
At this point, you got to go get him now. No sense having 2 pitches left.
And on cue, Luis Ureta goes to get him. He will exit to a hero's ovation. One of the biggest stories in the World Baseball Classic so far, the pitching heroics of Jose Quintana. Keeps the Americans hitless for 5 2/3 before Brandon Crawford gets on base with a single and exits leading 2-0. We'll be right back.
Well, Jose Quintana has had his defense when he needed him, the corners of the strike zone when he needed them. Pretty much mid-season form. He did not disappoint, and he gave his team such a jolt. They left with a 2-0 lead, only 1 hit given up. What an incredible performance in the first game for Team Colombia.
Colombia goes to the bullpen for veteran right-hander William Cuevas. Starts Ian Kinsler with a strike. Cuevas spent 8 years as Red Sox property in the minor leagues with Boston. Last year at AAA Pawtucket. Used primarily as a starter, 6 and 8. Was DFA'd by Boston at the end of the season. Signed a minor league deal with the Tigers with an invite to spring training in November. So now Detroit property, William Cuevas. Detroit Tiger Ian Kinsler lines to left against him.
Well, 2-out rally for Colombia when they scored 3 straight doubles to score 2 runs. See if the USA team can do it. He's not an overpowering pitcher as Cuevas. He uses finesse with his fastball. It goes downhill pretty good. He's got a really good changeup, good arm action to it. Almost looks like it floats. Curveball is big and really has an athletic motion. So see what he can do here to get 1 more out and get his team in the dugout.
Adam Jones hit 2 bolts against Jose Quintana. Each was handled, lining to center and lining to left. A ball and no strikes to Jones. Nolan Arenado waits on deck with 2 out. Crawford singled. That with 2 gone, and that was the last hitter faced by Quintana. Kinsler singles. So one of the two runners out there, the responsibility of Jose Quintana, who quite literally did everything he could to keep USA quiet tonight. We mentioned Adam Jones played in the 2013 Classic, went just 4 for 22 in the last running. But off to a much better start tonight. That'll do damage. Here's Crawford to score. They're going to hold Kinsler, who fell down rounding third and is just able to get back in safely. That's more like it, say the Americans on the bench.
Now it's a night of 2-out rallies. They see that break stayed over the middle of the plate. Adam Jones has hit 3 balls now extremely hard. And I think for Kinsler, he would have been out at the plate right here. So he was trying to stop, and he would have been out at third had they not dropped the ball. So kind of a little bit of a no man's land, but Kinsler had on his mind, if I possibly can, let me get in there and tie this game up. But stopped right at the last minute. But you see right there, that ball is picked up cleanly. Could be a different story.
Third base coach Willie Randolph did everything he could, getting down on his knees, try to stop Ian Kinsler without touching him. Christian Yelich and Eric Hosmer wanted to send him too. Willie knew better. Second and third with a run in. Finally a run on the board for the Americans. And now it's up to Nolan Arenado with the tying and go-ahead runs in scoring position. 3 straight 2-out knocks.
Arenado's been thinking about sitting on something off speed over the middle of the plate. That was a fastball that backed him off. Cuevas has not gotten the ball to the other side of the plate with his breaking ball, so not a good recipe against big league hitters if you can't get it to the glove side of the plate.
I'd like to have that pass back, and it's 0-2 now. A .385 hitter last year with runners in scoring position and 2 away. Breaking ball just missed the inside corner.
And he's trying to get it to his glove side, the pitcher's glove side of the plate, which would be this ball. Pretty good pitch, but it started inside, trying to get the back door. It wasn't what he intended.
Ball and 2 strikes to Arenado. The most prolific RBI man in all of baseball the last 2 seasons. Kinsler at third, Jones at second. And Quintana's lead hanging in the balance. 2-2. A swing and a miss. It gets away from Solano. Here's the run to score. The throw to first is not in time. And it's on a pass ball strikeout that the Americans tie it in the 6th.
This was such a good pitch. Unfortunate for Colombia that they were not able to execute the out here. Watch the break on this pitch. Finally got one to the other side. Arenado notices it too late, dives in at any point to try to get to the bag. Unfortunately, I think he catches the first baseman. They're checking, attending to him right now. Looked like the feet. Yeah, catch him on the hand. At that point, U.S. didn't care what it took. They got to be feeling a little bit better. I talked about the butterflies. Look, that first game, when you're heavily expected to win and you got to go in against a big-time, big-league pitcher in Quintana, you knew the first 5 innings were going to be a little bit closer than you wanted it to be.
Clearly, nobody told Nolan Arenado that this is just a exhibition getting ready for the major league season. There's a lot of desire on the field. It looks like Ronaldo Rodriguez at first base is okay and able to continue. They checked his hand. It was his glove hand that they were looking at, his left hand. Going to have a pinch hitter now, as Jim Leland will get to exercise his considerable depth of talent here. And he'll use Eric Hosmer to pinch hit for Paul Goldschmidt, something that he told both of his all-star first basemen of the possibility when this team got together. And nobody complained, no egos. He told Eric Hosmer, look, sometimes I'm going to pinch hit you, Goldschmidt for you, sometimes you for Goldschmidt, depending on the matchup late in the game.
Now the left-hander up there, that brings in Cueva's changeup. See if he goes to it after a fastball or even right away to Hosmer off the bench.
These are uncharted waters for Eric Hosmer. An all-star first baseman and a starter. Same can be said of Goldschmidt. Eric Hosmer has had a total of 8 pinch hitting appearances in his career. He is 0 for 6 with a couple of walks.
So he did start him off with a changeup. So the first pitch Hosmer saw was slow.
So the fastball and a swinging strike 0-2.
Slow him down, speed him up. Does he go back higher with the fastball or slow him back down with a changeup? This is where Hosmer, obviously not facing a guy like this. Scouting report tells him what he has. It comes down to execution.
Two runs in with 2 away. The 0-2 to Hosmer is fouled off. Hosmer is a returnee to the event. He played for Team USA in 2013 and endured a disappointing 5 for 25. Hosmer, I believe, if memory serves, was the late ad after Mark Teixeira had to remove himself from the roster when he got hurt. Jones at third, Arenado at first. The tying runs are in here in the 6th. Did he hold up? He did.
A lot of elbows, a lot of action. Close.
Buster Posey waits on deck for Team USA. Ball and 2 strikes to Eric Hosmer. To 2-2 now.
Well, see if he's got him set up for a changeup right here after going with the fastball up. Started him off with a changeup. Spun a real good breaking ball that Hosmer checked the swing on.
Little excuse me dribbler. Cuevas has it and retires the side. The U.S., however, is finally able to break through. The tying runs crossed the plate in the last of the 6th inning. And it's back to even as we head to the bottom 3rd. Crawford, Kinsler, Jones, and Arenado combined to tie it up with 2 out in the inning. We're all even at 2. Turned into an emotional night here in Miami in a 2-2 tie, top half of the 7th inning. Eric Hosmer, after pinch hitting last half inning, will continue defensively at first base. And there's a new pitcher on the mound for the Americans as well. Sam Dyson takes over here in the top of the 7th.
Well, Dyson, he can rush it up there. Got movement on that 2-seamer. Got that 12-6 curveball, change up, good arm action. A little bit of a abbreviated, condensed, mechanical delivery when he gets rid of the ball. Free and easy.
0-2 the count to Phillies prospect Jorge Alfaro. Middle of the order here for Team Colombia: Alfaro, Solano, and Valdez. All the runs in this one, 2 per side, have come with 2 out in an inning. Called strike 3 as Dyson makes quick work of the first batter he faces.
Well, StatCast, powered by Amazon Web Services, is going to tell us and show us how this happened. And it starts with Mr. Jones off the bat, 108 miles per hour down the line. That creates the first run. And then some decided hustle here by Arenado, and of course Kinsler coming home, slides into first, ties the game up. And I can tell you, the Alka-Seltzers there in the U.S. dugout are on hold right now. 20 miles an hour. 20.2 to be exact, once he got to full speed.
What's the old cliche? That's picking him up and putting him down.
Yeah.
Nolan Arenado can do everything. We know how good he is defensively. He can hit like crazy, and yes, he can run too. Solano takes a strike. He's behind 0-2. 5 pitches, 5 strikes from Sam Dyson. That's good work for a pitch to contact guy.
Yeah, I like his arm action that comes out of the glove. The only time he gets in trouble is when it looks like he's throwing uphill, which means he's not staying back and allowing that arm swing to come out naturally. It looks smooth when everything's going good.
That's the kind of contact that Sam Dyson is used to seeing. A ground ball pitcher. Took over in the back of the bullpen last year in Arlington in around May, mid-May, early on in the season after Sean Tollison had struggled in April.
Arm gets up, body in good position, elbows not leading. Tremendous sink action in his fastball. Like that.
Got him.
I don't care what hitter was at the plate right there. When you see a pitch that starts on the other side of the plate and comes back over, that is late and filthy. You watch where Posey sets up, just pinpoint.
Here's the man who started the 2-run 2-out rally in the 5th, right fielder Jesus Valdez. 3 straight 2-out doubles got the Colombians on the scoreboard in the 5th inning. The U.S. ties it with 3 straight hits of their own and a passed ball strikeout in the bottom half of the 6th. It's the first ball that Dyson has thrown in the inning. 9 pitches, 8 strikes. Eight pitches, 7 strikes.
And it's part of what I was telling you earlier about Jim Leyland now having to probably, I don't know, decide on relievers differently than he would have had the score been a 3-run lead or a 4-run lead. This is now
We're going to go
a must situation for the U.S. team to try to salvage this game.
Ball and 2 strikes to Jesus Valdez. Yeah, Jimmy was really reluctant to give us any pitching plans other than in a perfect world to get 4 out of Archer, and that's exactly what he got. And it wasn't because he didn't trust who he was telling that to. It's because simply he just wants to have the right to change his mind. He hadn't put anything down in stone.
Yeah, all the guys are great down there, but you have certain matchups that you would prefer against a, let's say, loaded Dominican Republic team versus an unknown Colombian team that you are scrapping with right now at 2-2 in the 7th.
Chopper to shortstop for Crawford to retire the side. Good quick work by Sam Dyson to hold the tie. 7th inning stretch at Marlins Park in a good one tonight. All tied 2-2. Welcome back to this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network, presented by Geico. With Hall of Famer John Smoltz, J.P. Morosi, Matt Vasgersian, in what has turned into a really fun and close one to watch. 2-2 game in the 7th. There is more WBC action coming up after the U.S. and Colombia tonight. Pool D continues in Jalisco, Mexico, and Venezuela takes on Puerto Rico. Fly ball out to center for Polo, and Posey is retired 1 away.
That's going to be a good one too. Those 2 countries battling. That pool with Italy having that miracle comeback. Oh my gosh, 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th against Mexico.
In Mexico.
Wow.
Two gone, bases empty now for Giancarlo Stanton, who's 0 for 2 tonight. Hey, that one hit him. Too big and too strong for it to hurt. And Stanton's aboard with 1 away.
See how the baseball just dropped, gave up?
It's flat now on one side. Here's Daniel Murphy now.
Murphy's glad that Quintana's out of the game, I can tell you that.
Yeah, 2 strikeouts against Quintana tonight. Striking out more than once in a game is something that happened a grand total of 6 times last year for Daniel Murphy. Chopper to first base. Rodriguez spins, gets the lead runner, relay back to the bag, and they double him off. And just like that, the Americans go down in the 7th. On to the 8th. Still a 2-2 tie. U.S. goes back to the bullpen again for the big hard throwing right-hander Nate Jones.
Nate Jones does something you would never want a youngster to learn, and that is watch the hand action out of the glove. But he has a gift, and that gift is he can throw the baseball at 98 miles an hour. Command, of course, with that kind of action can be an issue. So fastball command can get in the way of his success. He also throws a slider pretty firm.
Chopper off the bat of Adrian Sanchez. Crawford's got it. There's one quick out for Jones. Yeah, Jones is a lot of fun to watch because somebody that comes up and throws out of that slot, almost like the shot put slinger, like a Russ Ortiz, generally isn't going to give you nearly 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, that part where he picks his hand up, then there's a little bit of a wiggle, and then there's a little bit of a wiggle, and then when he gets to a position to throw, sometimes the ball comes out at 98, sometimes at 94, sometimes it cuts, sometimes it sinks. It adds to his effectiveness, but could also be part of the problem.
There's Mauricio Ramos now with 1 away.
Obviously, if he threw 90 miles an hour, he wouldn't be in the big leagues with that kind of action, but because he can throw at 95 to 98, and spin a slider.
Average fastball velocity is just a touch under 97 miles an hour. Again, coming out of that funky slot, it gives you more velocity than you may be bargaining for. And as good as his fastball is, it's probably the slider, John, that he makes his money on.
Yeah, when you pitch, you got to have a lot of things in the right spot at the right time to be able to have the best approach to creating what we call playing catch with the catcher. And you're seeing right now he's thrown 5 pitches out of the zone. The hitter swung at a 2-0 pitch. And early on, he has not looked like he's come out in command of the strike zone.
3 balls and no strikes as it counts to Mauricio Ramos.
Ball.
And he lost him on 4 pitches. Go ahead run aboard with 1 away in the top of the 8th inning. Here comes pitching coach Jeff Jones. Jones will go talk to Jones, and Buster Posey will join just to keep up with the Joneses. How'd you like that one?
I anticipated it.
Okay. It's hanging there for you sometimes. So buy a little time for Pat Neshek, who likely doesn't need it. Not only does he get hot quickly, he has been up in this game previously. So now Tito Polo, one of the defensive stars of the night, 0 for 2 offensively so far. And it looks like Alan Trammell and Tom Brookins are trying to move somebody. They just want their infield to be aware of the bunt possibility here.
Got to be 100% taken, I would think.
After a 4-pitch walk, we'll see. Indeed, Polo takes a strike. Saw the 2016 numbers on Tito Polo between the Yankees and the Pirates. He was part of the Ivan Nova deal, one that's already worked out really well for Pittsburgh and may work out well down the road for the Yankees. That one misses to make it 2-1. Tito Polo doesn't come from first of all a huge baseball place or a huge place in general. JP, you have a little more on that?
San Andres Island, Matt, 10 square miles in the Caribbean, actually off the coast of Nicaragua, but it's been part of Colombia. It's actually settled by the English and other countries in the past, but it's now part of Colombia. And Tito Polo, Matt, actually told me baseball is his #1 favorite sport. #2 is diving. He told me, Matt, he gets down 40 feet underwater. I've seen pictures of him at the bottom of the sea. True story. Without a snorkel mask. Matt, he is a gifted athlete, not just in catching fly balls, but swimming as well.
Man, his career as a Navy SEAL ahead of him if he wants. That just missed someplace. Wow, tough take. 3 balls and a strike. 11 pitches for Jones. He's thrown only 2 strikes.
They just threw another one there, but didn't get the call.
Go ahead run at first base. 3 balls and a strike to Tito Polo with 1 gone. Another base on balls.
And I know our camera angle is not perfect, but you don't get the benefit of the call when you're missing a little bit all over the plate, but those last 2 look pretty good. Posey felt the same way.
Here comes Jim Leland, and they're going to go get the right-hander. A mid-inning pitching change with 2 runners aboard and 1 gone. We'll be right back. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear with superior performing tires that knock it out of the park. Goodyear, more driven. Another bullpen move for Jim Leyland, and it's the veteran, another funky guy, funky right-hander Pat Neshek.
Yeah, this guy, it almost looks like he does half his delivery, and you'll see what I'm talking about when he goes. He doesn't really, he just falls forward, sidearm, tremendous breaking ball on his slurve. A very unique way of throwing.
Trying to mitigate this little mini rally after a couple of walks, and his first offering to the top of the order, Donovan Solano, misses outside.
Looks like he wants to go all the way underneath, but then rises up and it picks up the release point, not Kent to Colby like.
And it's 2-0. He's awfully tough to hit. A career opponent's batting average of just .203. That's the 8th lowest among active players. Solano, meanwhile, trying to pick up Ramos and Polo aboard with 1 gone. There's a strike. Neshek's usually around the plate. Accuracy refined by countless hours of video games working on Clash Royale. Big gamer. Solano hitless tonight.
He'd love to test his infield right now and see if he can get that induced ground ball double play.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Well, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning, and Neshek hoping to deliver it there, still tied. The U.S. has McCutchen, Crawford, and Kinsler. Only 1 bench option has been exercised for the Americans so far, and that's Eric Hosmer, who's out there at first base for the starter Paul Goldschmidt. So there are plenty of cards for Jim Leyland to play if he wants to go to matchups in the 8th and 9th. Still 2-2.
I think this is the time for that little sweeper right now. Slider off the plate after he's fouled off that fastball 90 miles an hour. A lot of nervous energy out there, a lot of mannerisms.
Full count.
He tried it, but it stayed right there, almost hit the batter, did not spin or turn left.
Full count pitch. Line to third. Arenado with a throwback to first. A double off the runner. And the U.S. escapes the 8th unscathed. The Wisconsin Badgers are a few seconds away from beating Indiana. And Madison, Wisconsin native Pat Neshek helping Team USA here in Miami. Big day for the Dairy State. A pinch hitter leads things off for Team USA, and Christian Yelich wastes no time. A leadoff double to open the bottom of the 8th. Now that gets a roar from this U.S. crowd. One of the hometown guys, Miami Marlin Christian Yelich, sees one pitch and puts himself at second as the go-ahead run.
Yeah, that ball was hit so good the other way. The outfielder was trying to take a route that it didn't matter. It was over his head. Impressive to come off the bench. Get a big double to start this 8th inning.
Brandon Crawford singled and scored. His base hit with 2 out in the 6th was the first hit for Team USA all night. He too offers it the first pitch, but this is just a pop-up out to left. Ramos is under it. There's one gone. Andrew Miller getting hot in the American bullpen.
Well, I can guarantee in the regular season Brandon Crawford doesn't do that very often. He will get the runner over. I'm sure that's what he was trying. A better pitch and execution, and just not the timing really ready to execute.
We've got a moment. A quick reminder, this World Baseball Classic telecast on MLB Network is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And sponsored in part by Sam Adams, Pursue Better, and by Ace, the helpful place. With one away, the go-ahead run still in scoring position now for Ian Kinsler, who singled and scored the second of the 2 tying runs in the 6th. Kinsler offers it the first pitch. Another pop. This one will drop in.
Well, that was a little unfortunate. Got the big swing. Polo did not read it right away. Watch his reaction in center. See him make a step back. That's all it took. And then this ball was hit off the end of the bat. And that's no man's land between the shortstop and the center fielder. His first read off the bat was following the big swing, and he did not see the ball initially. That's the difference.
So now Adam Jones, who delivered the big RBI double back in the 6th that put the Americans on the board.
And I've been doing this for a little while and watching baseball for quite a while. I can count on my hand how many times I've seen 4 consecutive pitches put in play. We got a chance right here, right?
So your thought is that they're not going to give Adam a chance to put the first pitch into play here?
I would think that's part of what pitching coach is going to go out and say, hey, let's just make a pitch away. Let's break a slider off and feed off the aggressiveness maybe of Adam Jones.
You know, I think we can say this as we see Nolan Arenado waiting on deck. It's become pretty clear what the Colombians' pitching plan was. As much as you can out of Quintana, and they got that. Brilliant through 5 2/3, and then Cuevas, because they haven't played the matchup game at all. There have been opportunities. Runners at the corners, 1 away. And the guy who had the highest swing percentage in Major League Baseball last year, Adam Jones, is the first of the 4 batters to hit here to take a pitch. A ball and a strike.
I like what Cuevas has done. His results have not matched the effort. Of course, he struck out what would have been the 3rd out in a 2-1 lead, and he's given up a couple hits here. 1 hard hit, 1 soft hit. Well, this guy knows how to pitch.
One to Jones. 2 balls and a strike.
And in a game of Major League Baseball where we're so emphasizing power and power and power, we're missing some guys that could fit in a guy like this who knows how to pitch and take a little off and spin it.
Two balls and two strikes. Adam Jones is just thinking fly ball. Something to medium outfield to give Yelich the opportunity to score from third and deliver the Americans their first lead of the night.
The infielders here don't play back. They play up for the double play and respect the speed of Adam Jones.
Check in with a guy who's stolen over 200 bases in his career. It'd be a big dice roll if the U.S. wanted to send Kinsler here. More than likely staying put with one away in the inning. Two-two. Got him swinging. Wow.
That's just good pitching right there. That just shows you don't have to have 98 to put it in the right spot. He kept him off balance. He went inside. Look where he called for it. A little cutter inside. Right above the hands. That's the only time he didn't square up a baseball all night. Jones has been locked in.
Well, if the Americans are going to avoid stranding a runner in scoring position to lead off the inning after Yelich's double, it's going to come down to Nolan Arenado now. With a runner at third and 2 out in an inning, Nolan Arenado was a .375 hitter last year. We could go through these productivity numbers until we're blue in the face. Point is, he's the guy you want at the plate in a must-score situation. And it's 0-2. By the way, just as an aside, that play in the 6th inning that the Americans tied the game on, what was at the time scored as a passed ball strikeout with Arenado headfirst sliding into first, it was changed to a wild pitch strikeout. That was also an 0-2 count. Arenado to center field with movement on it, but tracked down by Tito Polo. Well, that ball was angling away from the speedy Colombian center fielder, but Polo tracked it down to keep this one tied and headed to the 9th. 2 left stranded in the Americans' half of the 8th. Well, last night's opener in Pool C was kind of a runaway for the Dominican Republic, and tonight the U.S. has a real fight on its hand by this upstart Colombian team that's been really good, better than advertised tonight.
Yeah, it's been an incredible game. I got to give it to the Colombian pitching. I mean, it's only been 2 guys, but the guts of Cuevas to come in here in a tight situation, tie game, 1st and 3rd, 1 out, wiggle out of that, and now again the pressure is all on the U.S. and they're going to have to get a scoreless inning here if they want to avoid real pressure.
So Pat Neshek continues. He goes to work on Ronaldo Rodriguez. The 2-3-4 part of the Colombian order: Rodriguez, Urshela, and Alfaro. Christian Yelich had the pinch hit double that for a short time looked like it would provide the go-ahead run. Runner at second, nobody out, and the Americans failed to score. So Yelich takes over in left for Andrew McCutchen. Strike at the knees to make it 2 balls and a strike on Ronaldo Rodriguez. Just 3 hits for the Colombians tonight, but they came back to back to back, and they were all doubles in the 5th. It gave them their 2-0 advantage. Team USA tied it with 2 runs of their own in the bottom of inning number 6. Contrasting depth and strategy on the pitching side as well. As John mentioned, only 2 Colombian pitchers have been used tonight. But for Team USA, after Chris Archer's 4 shutout innings, 4 no-hit innings, might I add, it's been Michael Givens, Luke Gregerson, Sam Dyson, Nate Jones, and now Pat Neshek. Into left. Yelich backpedaling and making the catch. Speaking of Chris Archer, he's standing by with J.P. Morosi.
Thank you, Matt. Well, Chris, 41 pitches. How tough was it to come out at that point in time?
It was tough. Looking in Jim Leland's eyes and telling him that I had to shut it down, it was tough. But I'm obligated to the Tampa Bay Rays. We had a plan coming in. We knew that that was a possibility. I'm happy we're at where we're at in the game right now. It's a tie game. We played some great defense. We've scored some runs in some interesting ways. So I'm glad they didn't put too much pressure on me to stay in, but it was definitely tough.
Hey, Chris, you shared with me before that you were 17 years old, the first WBC. You dreamed of this moment. What was the reality like?
It was amazing. It was better than I dreamed, and that's what happens a lot. Reality surpasses dreams for the most part for me. There was 4 or 5 times pregame where I got chills, honestly, and I was just looking at my arm and just like, I can't believe this. Seeing my parents' face whenever I walked in, it was special. Giving high five to these guys, seeing the type of competitors they are, it was a special experience.
Congratulations, Chris. Thanks so much.
Thanks, JP.
Matt, back to you.
JP, thanks. With 2 gone now, it's Jorge Alfaro with the bases empty, and there's a guy to be wary of. Shot back up the box. They yell hockey suit in certain states when that comes in close like that. Man, you see that ball knuckle?
I tell you, I've just been watching this, guys. I mean, I don't know a lot of them, but hearing their manager talk in the beginning of the day and just watching them in the clubhouse, watching them in the dugout, you get this sense that they don't view it so much as a huge underdog.
Yeah,
you really do. I mean, when this is all done, whatever happens over 4 days, they're going to realize this moment right here was as big and as huge as they anticipated it coming in for this country, Colombia.
There's Jonathan Solano now with the go-ahead run at first. Peering ahead to the last of the 9th. The Americans have the middle of the order, and it'll be Hosmer, Posey, and Stanton. But nobody wanted to contemplate extra innings in their first game in the pool, because what that can do and the ramifications on your bullpen, knowing you have to win at least 1 more game to have a realistic chance of moving on, and you're playing tomorrow, that throws a real wrench into the machine.
Well, it does, and it's definitely, as we look at the extra inning rules, of course, it begins in the 11th inning. You have runners on first and second. And of course, each team's going to have that. So you would think the decided advantage would be to the home team as far as strategy and seeing what the previous team, if they score or how many they score.
It also prevents bullpens from being completely blown apart, because the thought is that in the 11th, when that starts, somebody's going to win the game. Little flare out toward no man's land, and dropping in a base hit for Solano. Alfaro gets all the way to third. And now the go-ahead runs 90 feet away with 2 gone in the 9th.
Wow, third base coach really wanted Alfaro to keep going, and I don't think he came into third base even thinking that was an option. With 2 outs, you got a catcher. And you can see right here, watch the third base coach. He's saying the whole way, go, 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 go. Alfaro, instead of looking at the third base coach, was turning behind to see where the ball was. That's all it takes to change your direction and speed. And I'm with third base coach. That
really?
Oh,
you
yeah.
think
Take
he
your
scores on that?
Well, take your chances. You got nothing to lose. Two outs.
All right.
The likelihood of getting 3 two-out hits or 2 in a row. You see right here, at this point, he's got to have his head down and he's got to go. And he's looking the whole way. He looks again. By that point, it's too late. He can't tell if they fumbled it or not. That would have been an interesting play nonetheless had he kept going. It takes 2 good throws and executed play.
I mean, I get what you're saying. You're looking for 3 straight 2-out hits to score the run. You have a chance maybe that somebody will bobble the ball,
right.
Or yeah. I still think he's out by about 60 feet.
He might have been, but you know the third base coach was willing to risk that.
All 4 runs in this game have crossed the plate with 2 out in an inning. Tyler Clippard's up in the U.S. bullpen. If you're just tuning us in late in this one, it's been close the whole way, clearly at only 2-2. U.S. has not had a lead tonight. And it's 0-2 now to Jesus Valdez.
This is where, if you're Nishak, you're channeling your inner season type pitching 2-strike approach here. You got to make the very best pitch out of the zone. Awfully different and difficult early in spring training.
The U.S. plated the tying run on a wild pitch strikeout. Swing and a miss, he got him. Nishak leaves the potential go-ahead run at third base and sets up the Americans for a chance to walk it off in Miami tonight. Here we go, bottom half of the ninth. The 2-2 tie. Eric Hosmer leads it off for Team USA. As the Colombians have made just their 2nd pitching change of the night. We'll tell you about Greg Napo in a moment, a new right fielder as well. That's Efren Contreras, who takes over for Jesus Valdez. Greg Napo is going to try to get this game to extra innings. And ironically, an American-born member of Team Colombia is the guy who'll try to keep this at 2-2. 28-year-old who spent 6 minor league seasons in the States. Marlins property heading into 2017, and pitches a strike to make it 2-1.
The way he throws mechanically, throws across his body, he is tough on left-handers. You've already seen fastball, cutter, there's a changeup and a slider.
2-2 to Eric Hosmer.
One pitch right there that Hosmer would like to have back. Catcher set up away. That ball missed right over the heart, right where Hosmer delivers most of his damage. See if he sweeps something now off of that pitch, realizing where it was.
Still 2 balls and 2 strikes. Greg Napo is pitching for Team Colombia by virtue of his mom's ethnicity. His mom is Colombian. But dare I say, this is as tough a threesome as he's ever been scheduled to face. Hosmer giving him a battle. Former MVP on deck, former Major League home run champ after him. The next 2-2. Little tapper. Solano's got it. There's one away.
Not an easy play under the circumstances in general, the catcher to come out here. Pitcher kind of freezes right there, realizes it's right out in front of the plate. The catcher gets out, bare hand throw to first.
Napo gets the only batter that he's asked to retire. And at this point, Colombia will play the matchup game. They want a right-hander for Posey and Stanton. We'll be right back. We're in the last of the 9th inning here in the midst of a 2-2 tie. And as a reminder, Venezuela and Puerto Rico Pool D action as soon as this one comes to a close. The pitching change for Colombia brings a major league veteran onto the mound. Guillermo Moscoso spent 2016 in Yokohama in the Japan League as a base star, where he was used primarily as a starter. His last tour of duty in the major leagues came back in 2013 in 13 appearances with the Giants. Veteran 33-year-old right-hander, a ball and no strikes to current San Francisco Giant Buster Posey.
Well, he pretty much four-seam over the top, as you've seen right there, and a little bit of a slider and a changeup. But at this point, you got to imagine the nerves coming in to a game like this. That one leaked over the middle of the plate. Posey, again, early on, trying to get their timing as hitters. We'd like to have that pitch one more time and end it for USA.
The irony here is, of all the different permutations in an international tournament, you've got a guy that hasn't pitched in the big league since 2013. But the last time he did pitch in the big leagues, his catcher was Buster Posey. The 2-1. Buster loses a bat.
Lost a bat because that slider disappeared. Fastball that he pulls foul, and then slider that just disappears, and so does the bat.
My goodness.
They're going to play bottle caps for that bat.
I mean, nobody was hurt in that, but there's a grown man that's just acting a fool down there to get that bat to take home. Come on. Two balls and two strikes. Wrapped to third. Urshela's got it. And the U.S. has their last chance, perhaps, to win it in regulation in Giancarlo Stanton. You don't draw it up this good if you're the best of Hollywood. The local guy, the Miami Marlins franchise man, with the prolific power, the back of the baseball card, home run derby champ last year at the All-Star game, former Major League home run champ during the regular season. His dad Mike here watching. And it looks like this one's going to extra innings. To the top of the 10th. Colombia giving the U.S. all they can handle tonight. A 2-2 tie. Well, the extra innings rules in the World Baseball Classic are a little bit different. This was suggested as a rules change in Major League Baseball, but here in the WBC, it's a reality that starting in the 11th inning, teams at bat will start with runners at first and second base, and they'll be placed according to the lineup card. Whoever had recorded the last and second to last outs, they'll be on base starting in the 11th inning to kind of expedite a conclusion. That is, unless one is reached before the 11th. Tyler Clippard will try to prevent any runs from scoring here in the top of the 10th inning. veteran right-hander who gets a big swing and a miss out of Adrian Sanchez. It's 1-1.
He's got what we would call the old Bugs Bunny changeup. That's his bread and butter pitch. He throws a fastball slider. He started him off with a changeup and then went in with 92, and I'm sure that looked a little bit firmer than 92 to the hitter.
Chopper headed up the middle. Crawford there with a great play to get his man. And Brandon Crawford has been spectacular tonight. With one out, the base is empty. Reminder, there's a new season coming, and MLB Network is bringing you 11 live opening week games, plus live look-ins and analysis from the best in the biz on MLB Tonight. Opening week coverage presented by Best Western, beginning April 2nd right here on MLB Network. One out, base is empty for Mauricio Ramos.
There's the nasty changeup. A lot of elbows, knees, shoulders, and then the ball just doesn't get there.
Ramos has one of the 5 Colombian hits tonight.
And again, that's the interesting part of what would be typically spring training, right? That's the pitch you've got to bring along. That's the field pitch. That's the pitch for relievers. When you leave spring training, you don't have any more time to work on anything. So you're asking relievers to be on their game early and bring along all their pitches so that when they go north, they're locked in as soon as possible.
2 balls and a strike.
The starting pitcher, on the other hand, every time in between starts has an opportunity to get better with his bullpen sessions.
David Robertson up in the U.S. bullpen. 3-1 now. Tito Polo waiting on deck. And I tell you, Mauricio Ramos does not get cheated. I mean, that's a Cespedes-like hack that he takes.
Well, based on the amount of bats we saw that they brought, they have to make the most of it. Didn't look like they were fully equipped with a bunch of bats that could be broken before this weekend's over.
They don't intend on losing any of those. There's ball 4. Go ahead run aboard once again.
Who you got throwing? Robertson.
Tito Polo is hitless with the base on balls.
He's hitless, but he'd be my co-MVP for Colombia along with Quintana because his defensive plays kept the team in the game.
Good speed, tougher man to double up. Runner at first with 1 gone, and it's a ball and no strikes. Every one of the U.S. relievers tonight has inherited a high leverage situation. Even those that have come out to start an inning clean, they've done so with either the score tied or trailing.
Well, I see Archer set the tone, Matty, and then it got a little difficult with 2 outs for Givens, and then some nice patchwork to try to get out of those jams. Nishak came in for Jones, who struggled with command, and now Clippard a little bit struggling with command.
Two balls and no strikes to Tito Polo. So if Jim Leland was semi-concerned about having enough arms to go back-to-back and fill out the game against the Dominican Republic tomorrow, I think that concern has been ratcheted up a bit because he's going to have to go a little bit deeper than he would have liked tonight. And he got his ideal scenario out of Archer. He wanted 4, he got it. It looks like David Robertson's hot. 2 balls and a strike. It's a 2-2 now. There's still options out there. In addition to David Robertson, Miller's been up. Jake McGee's available.
But none of those guys really don't intend on pitching more in an inning, so it gets dicey.
Modest lead off first. And it's still 2-2.
Of course, the Dominican team, they know they're pretty good and they're loaded, and they had a day off today.
Yeah.
So this is a great scenario for them. Even if 2 starters are going to piggyback for the U.S. team tomorrow, you're still going to need some of those guys out of the pen to contribute if you're in a winning situation.
Check and throw at first. That provisional roster, that extra pitching depth that can come later in the tournament, is really of no concern to Jim Leyland right now in this moment. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And a called strike 3.
Maybe anticipating something soft. He goes fastball inner half. A big strikeout.
Here is the former Miami Marlin Donovan Solano now, who's been held hitless tonight. In fact, the top 3 hitters in the Colombian lineup, 0 for 12. When the Americans hit in the bottom of the inning, again hoping for another opportunity for a walk-off, they'll have 7, 8, 9. Murphy, Yelich, Crawford.
And it would be super imperative they get it done so they don't extend any farther, because we talked already about what the 11th inning provides. That would be the case. Crazy scenario that you still like the side of the home team, seeing what happens in the top half with runners on first and second, nobody out.
Both of the runs and all the hits with 2 outs tonight. That Pool D contest is underway, and as soon as we have a conclusion here, we'll take you out to Jalisco, Mexico, where Gary Thorne and Jose Mota are standing by. Venezuela and Puerto Rico. Chopper to shortstop. Crawford has to back up and play the big hop. But Tyler Clippard is able to hang a 0 in the top of the 10th. Another chance for a walk-off win as Daniel Murphy leads off the bottom of the 10th for the Americans. Daniel Murphy leads off the home half of inning number 10. Murphy, Yelich, and Crawford. Guillermo Moscoso continues on the mound. He was able to record the final 2 outs in the last of the 9th and send this game to extra innings, and it's been a tough night so far for Murph. Couple of strikeouts and a double play ball. One and one.
Well, no one's made a mistake over the middle half of the plate where he's learned to drive the ball, get his foot down, and then we saw tremendous power that last month and a half for the Mets, and then he's carried it over with the Nationals with power, extra base hits, and average.
Well, we know that Daniel Murphy is capable of some big game magic. In fact, he did it over a prolonged period of time in the 2015 postseason. One for the ages. Let's take it back to it. Homering in 7 games, 6 consecutive games, that is, and homering in each game of the NLCS. And we're not talking about getting them against number 5 starters either. Got Clayton Kershaw twice, Greinke, Lester, Arrieta. A magical postseason run as he was named NLCS MVP in 2015. A ball and 2 strikes to Murphy. Little flare out to shallow left. Ramos coming on hard, lays out and makes another great grab.
Well, they may not have a ton of bats that they brought on this trip, but they brought their defense. They have made every play you could make, with the exception of the strikeout at home plate that allowed the tying run to score. Yelich saw 1 pitch, laced it for a double.
Here he is for a second plate appearance after starting the night as a reserve player. A ball and no strikes to the Miami Marlin Christian Yelich. Brandon Crawford waiting on deck. It's the bottom of the order that started the 2-out 2-run rally in the 6th inning that tied it, and we've been stuck there at 2s ever since. 2-0. A breakthrough campaign for Christian Yelich last year. Won his first Silver Slugger Award, career highs in home runs, RBIs, on base, slugging. He's in front here 3-0.
I mean, if you strip away everything, let's just say this was not spring training. The best way to win a tournament like this is to not have 7 pitchers pitch in one game, right? I mean, Colombia has utilized, they're in great position, only in their 3rd pitcher here in the 4th pitcher here in the 10th inning. But the U.S. team has had to use almost everybody, with extra innings looming if they don't get it done right here.
3 balls and a strike to Yelich. And there's ball 4. The winning run is on base with 1 away.
And the reason I say that, you'd be better equipped to have more starters on your team to eat up more innings. But because typically you're preparing the U.S. players for their respective teams, you don't want to put starters in that situation all too often. But the other teams who don't have the luxury of the depth at the roster that the U.S. does, they can do that.
Yeah. Well, and just to expand on that, it's why Jim Leland's job and Joe Torre's job before him and Davey Johnson's job before him and Buck Martinez's job before him, all the managers of Team USA have an arguably more difficult task, because yes, they've got more talented roster depth, but they've also got more constraints on their guys than any other team.
That's exactly right.
Brandon Crawford has singled and scored tonight. He's also been outstanding defensively as per usual. The two-time Gold Glover lays off. It's a ball and no strikes. Top of the order, Ian Kinsler waits next.
All out.
To 2-0 now. Christian Yelich didn't really run a lot last year. 9 stolen bases in 13 attempts. You couple that with the fact that all of a sudden Moscoso is having trouble locating, and it becomes a very big dice roll to send him here. Jonathan Lucroy anxious to get an opportunity to get into this thing. He'll catch tomorrow against the Dominican Republic with Marcus Stroman on the mound. Conservative lead for Yelich. He stays put, and it's now 3-0.
Interesting decision here on 3-0. Boy, I sure would be tempted to let him go, but getting a runner at second base too would be nice for Kinsler.
He stays put. The 3-0 home is in for a strike. 3-1 to Brandon Crawford. The 3-1. Moscoso's come back to fill the count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Moscoso dealing to another former San Francisco teammate, only this is one perhaps without the kind of insight into his game that Buster Posey had. Winning run at first base with 1 away here last of the 10th. The payoff pitch. Ball 4. Well, the one and only time the U.S. has gotten into the semifinals in this event, it came courtesy of a walk-off win, a memorable one back in 2009 after Kevin Youkilis drew a bases-loaded walk to cut the lead to 5-4. It was Captain America, David Wright, a 2-run single to right off Fernando Cabrera, and the U.S. walked him off right here in Miami. 8 years ago, John. Seems like only yesterday.
It does seem like only yesterday.
Well, the winning runs in scoring position. 1 away, and the U.S. is loaded up with the top of the order now. Ian Kinsler has a couple of hits tonight. Adam Jones would be next. Moscoso's ready, and here we go. A strike 0-1.
Great first pitch. Guessing game is if you're going to throw a fastball and he may be attacking it, there's nothing he could have done with it on a pitch that on the corner.
And now Kinsler's behind 0-2.
Now the outfielders have come in just a little skosh, anticipating something in front of them, but also trying to guard the power of Ian Kinsler.
A ball and 2 strikes.
Good block by Solano. With the changeup, one of the tougher pitches for catchers to block because of the inconsistency of that spin and more skips. Right fielder is as shallow as you'll see against Kinsler. Primarily a pull hitter, I understand.
Moscoso's 1-2 pitch is foul back again. A doubleheader tomorrow here in Pool C. At noon, Colombia takes on Canada, so Colombia has the tougher turnaround after playing tonight. The U.S. draws the Dominican Republic team at 6:30 tomorrow night. And we'll have both of them live here on MLB Network. The next 1-2 to Kinsler is again fouled back.
Well, the coaching staff of Team Colombia saw that and gave him the sign back up a little bit to the right fielder, so he's a little bit more adequate with where you would be in normal situations. So he's back to that depth. I couldn't believe how much he had crept in.
Little excuse me roller to the right side as Solano gathers it in. There are 2 gone. Both runners advance. Yelich to third, Crawford to second, and it's all going to be up to Adam Jones.
Well, if nothing else, that puts extra pressure on the catcher now with the winning run at third, and any ball that's in the dirt, he'll have to do his best to keep it anywhere around home plate. Adam Jones has been pretty patient, but I would anticipate first pitch looking aggressive off the fastball and reacting if it isn't.
Jones has an RBI double to his credit tonight. Given the fact that Guillermo Moscoso did not pitch in the major leagues for a super long time, Adam Jones happened to get him quite a few times. In fact, there's only a handful of big leaguers that have ever faced Moscoso more than Adam Jones. 4 for 8 in their career matchups is the U.S. outfielder, and Moscoso starts in with a tough fastball for a strike. Winning run at third base with 2 gone. 0-2.
Tell you, for a team that has not had a lot of reps in the World Baseball Classic and experience, their pitchers don't show it on their face and don't show it on their tough pitches they're having to make in these circumstances. Could be resetting just the fact that you might want to bounce a slider, right, and trusting that I got you. Solano's out there saying.
When Colombia turned away the go-ahead run in the 8th, they celebrated that 3rd out, with the game still tied, by the way, as though they'd won the World Series. He's still 0-2.
Great pitch. Goes in with the fastball. Just a perfect pitch. About all Jonesy could have done, unless he was anticipating, trying to pull his hands in. The way he can hit that pitch.
A high fly ball angling for the stands and well out of play.
Attacked him with all fastballs. He's gone in, he's gone up. At some point, you try to make the decision as a battery when to bounce, when to throw the slider. But you can't be defensive in it. One more meeting to maybe talk about that strategy again.
With 1 out, Yelich walked. Crawford walked. Kinsler's 2nd out advanced the base runners. And that's where we are with Adam Jones behind in the count 0-2. Andrew Miller is up and ready, hoping he won't be needed. And he won't be needed. Adam Jones delivers. And the U.S. walks it off to open pool play in Miami. The U.S. with a winner in their first matchup in Pool C. That sets up the big showdown tomorrow. The Dominican Republic and the U.S. in the nightcap of the day-night doubleheader here at Marlins Park. Time to celebrate tonight's Alfa Romeo player of the game. Who else? The guy that delivered the walk-off winner, Adam Jones.
Yeah, they went with a changeup instead of the breaking ball, and they left the changeup up just enough for Mr. Jones to get the ball over the infield, and a very relieved USA team in a hard-fought, not to be expected 3-2 victory over Colombia.
Colombia put up a heck of a battle tonight, and it took a walk-off winner in extra innings for the U.S. to earn the win in their first pool play matchup. Adam Jones, our Alfa Romeo player of the game, after a 2-for-5 night with a pair of RBIs, including the game winner. He's with JP.
Thank you, Matt. Adam, have you and your teammates caught your breath yet?
I'm trying to right now, man. I want to tip my cap to Team Colombia. Oh, they played their hearts out, man. They played their hearts out. I mean, absolutely played their hearts out. We just kept fighting, and kept fighting. I think this is a great baseball game. I'm used to getting pies. I've never have gotten that one before. I've never gotten. Oh, that was awesome. But hey, man, great game. I think it's just a great game for everybody here in the stadium, at home watching. Just overall, just a terrific fight on both sides. And glad we was able to come out victorious today. Our pitching staff battled and kept fighting. This whole team kept fighting. That's the thing that we're going to do. We're going to grind this whole thing out, and we're just going to keep fighting.
This is game one, Adam, and we're both wet. This sure feels like it means a lot.
It means a lot. I mean, any win, I think no matter when you win on a walk-off, it's big, but I think the situation, a little magnitude, is a little bit bigger. So, hey, I'm just glad we was able to get the win.
We talked before the game, Adam, about your father's service in the military and your brothers. You're wearing this uniform. You did something very special for your country tonight. What's your message to them?
My message, it's always been the same thing. Is I appreciate their service. I appreciate the service of every military man across the entire world that's protecting our freedom and doing the right thing. So, you know, to them, to my dad, my brothers, my mom, my cousins, my nieces, my wife, my kids, all of them. This is for you.
Adam, a couple last ones. The next round, of course, is in San Diego. How excited are you about that possibility of playing at home?
Well, we got to get there first. I'm not a person that looks look ahead too much, so I'm just trying to live right now in the moment. Let's get this cold uniform off of me, go eat some dinner, and then tomorrow wake up and prepare for the DR.
Should be a great one, Adam. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Matt, back to you.
JP, thanks. Yeah, I mean, we're getting to that U.S.-Dominican Republic matchup tomorrow night as we thought we would, with both teams winning their first matchup in pool play. But, boy, the U.S. really had to scrap to earn their win after the Dominicans kind of cruised last night.
They did, and not to underplay how big the obvious hit was, but you saved two of your relievers that you're desperately going to need tomorrow. To think that two starters could cover the game would be great, but the Dominicans going to have everybody at their disposal, and it is going to be a loud and much more comfortable game for the U.S. Had they not won this, you would see tense and nerves like you've never seen in the first round, because there is a lot of pressure on the U.S. to not only everyone expects them to move on. It's just, can they get over that hurdle, and can they beat the DR to at least establish themselves as one of the teams that are supposed to be in the finals.
Yeah, and even though this game's going to be played tomorrow night, obviously on U.S. soil here in Miami, Florida, USA, it's going to be a very Dominican-feeling crowd. One we can't wait to experience tomorrow. Day-night doubleheader tomorrow, Canada and Colombia, the early game. U.S. and Dominican Republic is the nightcap. For now, it's off to Pool D in Jalisco, Mexico. Gary Thorne and Jose Mota take it away.